This is the Trimax Scream'n Demon cable lock. Let's see exactly how it works. It's 3 foot, so some of your bike racks like this one, it's not really gonna work out too well for it, but we can still get it through this center mast. I typically like to go down through maybe the shank of the bike rack, but since it is pretty short, this is the best way to do it. So what we wanna do is find this little button here. You're gonna click it, and it's gonna sound. Now we have 22 seconds to lock this into place. It's gonna beep to confirm that it is locked. And then now it will give us about 15 seconds or so until it's gonna go into the resting state. So if someone goes for it right away or you just accidentally bump it, it is gonna go off right away. But to turn this off when it is going off like this, we just need to unlock it and it's going to stop. So we'll do that again. You just take the button, press it, 22 seconds to lock it, just like this. You lock it up, and then we can let it rest. A real big question that a lot of people are wondering is if it's going to go off while we're driving. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna start driving and see if it goes off. We've done this before, and sometimes starting the vehicle sets it off, so let's test it. As of right now, it's good. So now I'm just gonna drive around and see what happens. Well, we hit some bumps and it went off. It's gonna go off for about 15 seconds and then turn back off, but then if somebody does it again, it's gonna go. So what I do suggest, if you do plan on putting this on your bike rack to lock down your bikes and are traveling with it, I wouldn't press this red button. So you can use it, but you don't have to set the alarm state. And this is gonna be probably one of the better ones for your bike, because one, we have a nylon fabric that goes all the way around, so it's not going to scratch your bike rack or your bike. But then also the hardened steel that's on the inside of this, it's triple heat treated. So that's 6 tons of pull strength and 11 tons of cutting strength. So it is a very, very strong cable. One thing that I've noticed, if you have it going off and you unlock it, but it's still going off, that's because this button is pushed in. So make sure that button pushes out. Sometimes it gets a little stuck. So that is a little trick that I learned there. But all you want to do for transport is just lock it up like normal and just keep this button out and do not press it, because then it's not going to go off the whole entire ride, but you're still pretty secure. I think the Trimax Scream'n Demon cable lock is going to really shine if you're living in the city or you're keeping your bike outside for storage, just because it's a perfect length to wrap around any type of like bike rack outside of like a coffee shop or something, or even a pole like this. But just know that you only have about 3 foot to work with. I think this can actually, if you had 2 different bikes, have one on one side, one on the other, it'll have enough to go all the way through. They'll just be a little close, so you don't need 2 for 2 bikes in a certain situation. So I think this is the best way to do it. What we want to do, press the button, just because I'm going to go in somewhere and not going to be able to see my bike. Once the button's pressed, we can lock this up, and then we just have peace of mind, which is really what I'm going for. A lot of you are wondering if it's gonna go off when we have a generator hooked up to it and it's running. Well, first, we did struggle to find a place to put the generator since the cable that we're looking at today is so short. It's 3 foot. Typically, we wanna keep the generators a little bit farther away from the camper, but we honestly couldn't really find a spot besides here for it to loop through the frame and the generator. So I do suggest grabbing this one. It's not gonna have the chains, but it does have a 1-inch diameter cable and it's 6 foot long. This is gonna be a little bit better for the generator situations. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna loop it around the frame and then connect it up. I think the best way to do this is to make to where the alarm part, which is where the shake sensor is, it's going to be farthest away from our generator. So I'm going to connect it like this, lock it, And I'm gonna put it like right here. And we're gonna let it rip. Let's see if this one wants to go. Pull the choke out. These generators start up almost every time first pull. So now that that's running, I'm going to set it, lock it, position this over here. And since our generators are pretty quiet, they don't really rattle a whole lot, I don't think we're gonna have an issue here. And this all just depends on the placement. So we're gonna let this run for a little bit and see what happens. If you're using a generator like ours that doesn't really move a whole lot and you position the alarm part of the chain, we didn't have any issues, but now I'm gonna rotate it around and put this directly on the generator to see. If it goes off. Okay. So there it is, folks. It's all about positioning, I think, for this. So it's gonna go off for 15 seconds unless we unlock it. Let's see if it goes off for the second time, but I'm pretty sure it will. So those are the answers to a lot of those questions you are asking about this cable lock. I do think this is gonna really shine in the stationary bike section, just because it is gonna go off on the road, but you don't have to have that alarm going off. So you can still use it for transport, and it's gonna be a very secure way to do it, but don't activate the alarm because it's just gonna waste battery. But when it comes to your generators and stuff, I think it being so short, 3 foot, I think you probably want something a little bit longer so you can put the generator as far away and where you actually want it on the camper whenever you're out camping. But at the end of the day, I think this is gonna be a really good option. But there is one more question that we need to go over, and that's how to change out the batteries if that situation does happen to you. Pretty much this little door right here is what we wanna do. So we just want to get this sleeve and pull it just like this, and this is gonna pop out. Once it pops out, we can take these little screws, pull that out, and there's gonna be two different types of batteries that we're gonna have, and they do come with replacements. We're gonna put those in, and it's gonna be good to go. So it's very simple. You're just gonna need a pretty small Phillips to get these screws undone, and it does not come with the kit. And then once you're done, you wanna line up the arrows. Notice on this side, it has a little notch, and then we have this little piece here. So that's gonna kinda go in like that. You push it in, and then you push the sleeve back in, and you are good to go. A nice little feature is the keys are not gonna come out when it's unlocked. So you're not gonna have to worry about losing the keys when you're not using this lock. But they do come out whenever we insert that in. I like that because I lose things all the time, and there's 3 keys. One of the keys has a little light on it. So if you're doing this at night, you don't have to take out your phone. You can just use this. It's a nice blue light, which makes it really easy to find where you need to go. And that's pretty much it. I think this is gonna be a really good option for you. At the end of the day, you just wanna have a cable lock or a chain lock that is gonna be a little bit more intimidating to those thieves than some of the others to deter them away. But this one has a loud sound, 110 decibels, to really scare them off. And that's pretty much it for a look at the Trimax Scream'n Demon cable lock.